Hello students, as I said in the first part of this video that I will discuss the part of a dividend and the provisions of the Company Act in the next video. So this video is regarding the provisions of Company Act 2013 relating to the payment of dividend. In the previous video I have discussed what is the dividend and how can we determine the dividend, what is the divisible profit, what will be the profit. So these kind of things has been previously discussed. In this video we will discuss about what is the provisions of Companies Act 2013 relating to the payment of dividend which comes under section 123. So now we will talk about first of all meaning of dividend. What does the meaning of dividend comprising in these provisions? So meaning of dividend comes under section 2 subsection 35, which means in this section the definition is given. So what will be the definition? The term dividend includes interim dividend. The term interim dividend means the dividend declared between the two annual general meetings of the company. फिर से सुनिएगा, द टर्म डिविडेंड इंक्लूड्स इंटरिम डिविडेंड. द टर्म इंटरिम डिविडेंड मीन्स द डिविडेंड डिक्लेयर्ड बिटवीन द टू एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग्स ऑफ द कंपनी. दिस इज द perfect definition which comes under section 2 subsection 35 as far as the meaning of dividend is been concerned. Now I am going to tell you about the provisions. Procedure. Section 51 permits company to pay the dividend. Dividend definitions has been given under section 2 subsection 35, but according to the Companies Act 2013 section 51 permits the company that a company should pay the dividend. In this, how the determinations, what will be the procedure for the dividend by the company that should be followed? What will be the procedure that should be followed while giving the amount of dividend? First, there is a meeting of board of directors. Yes, meeting of the board of directors is very important because in this only the rate of dividend is been fixed off. Next is final rate of dividend is determined. Yes, final rate of the dividend is be determined in this board of directors meeting. AGM shareholders agree or disagree. Shareholder can decrease the dividend decided by the board of directors but not having right to increase it, but they do not try to decrease it also because it contains their own loss. नेक्स्ट इज सोर्सेस ऑफ डिविडेंड. इट कम्स अंडर सेक्शन 123. इसका मतलब ये होता है कि जो भी डिविडेंड होगा वो करेंट ईयर प्रॉफिट या फिर डेप्रिसिएशंस के बाद कटेंगे एंड वी कैन यूज रिटेन अर्निंग एज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ गिविंग डिविडेंड. नेक्स्ट इज ट्रांसफर्स टू रिजर्व. एवरी ईयर अ डिफरेंट सम ऑफ मनी इज ट्रांसफर टू रिजर्व. द मनी विच रिमेन्स आफ्टर ट्रांसफरिंग द अमाउंट आउट ऑफ विच ओनली द डिविडेंड इज डिक्लेयर्ड. नेक्स्ट इज डिक्लेरेशंस ऑफ डिविडेंड आउट ऑफ रिजर्व. If in any year sufficient profit is not earned, then also we cannot use reserves fund for dividend, but it can be used to return the capital if in the case of dissolutions happens. Next is provisions for depreciation. For every profit happens if the Company Act section 2 every assets depreciation percentage is defined. In section 2 of the Companies Act, every asset's depreciations of percentage has been defined, according to which only we will charge the depreciations amount, after which the profit which remains will be distributed as the amount of dividend. Next is mode of payment of dividend. Payment of the dividend is done in the form of cash, for which share warrants are issued. If in case not having the sufficient cash, then we can issue owners shares. Next is deposits of amount of dividend. It comes under section 123 subsection 4, in which it says when we declare dividend, then within 5 days we need to deposit the dividend amount and within 30 days we need to pay to shareholders. At last, dividend declared but remaining unpaid. If in the 30 days we are not paying the dividend, then we need to transfer the amount into unpaid dividend account, and if they demand, then we will do payment from that unpaid dividend account. Now I will going to talk about penalty for non-payment of dividend. Yes, if you're not paying the dividend, then you should pay the penalty. It comes under section 127. In this, first is director and second is company. If I talk about director, if the director found culprit, if the director is found culprit in non-payment of dividend, then he can face 2 years of imprisonment and rupees 1000 fine per day for each day of 2 years of imprisonment. This is the strict penalty for director. And second is company. Company will also face some penalty, which says if the company is found the culprit by an auditor, then it need to give the required amount with 18% interest during the period for which the default continues. This is the penalty which is defined under section 127 for director and company as far as the non-payment of dividend is concerned. If I talk about company, if not submitted the penalty amount, then we will wait for 30 days. we need to deposit the, if not submitted the amount of dividend, sorry, if not submitted the amount of dividend, then we need to wait for 30 days. Then we need to deposit the unpaid dividend amount in the unpaid dividend account and takes the dividend from the company with 12% interest also. Now I'm going to talk about procedures for payment of dividend. In this, preparations of dividend list. What will be the procedure for payment of dividend which should be followed by every company? In this, the first is preparations of dividend list. Prepare a list of shareholders going to receive the dividend with respective amount to be given as dividend. Next is tax deducted at source. Company has a duty to deduct a TDS from dividend previously before giving and submit it in the IT department, means income tax department, with the shareholders respective names. Then after the every individual get a list that how much they have to pay, as a company submitted just a portion of tax. Next is dividend warrant. When a shareholder asks claims for his dividend, company sends them a dividend warrant to shareholders on the basis of which they have been paid. Next is address of shareholders. All the dividend warrants are sent to the address provided by the shareholders to a company. Every shareholder's details are having with the company because company prepare books for each and every kind of thing. So in this only the address is written. Next is preparation. Prepare checks or any other document for payment of dividend. For payment of dividend, check or any demand draft will only work. No cash payment is allowed. No cash payment is allowed. Next is payment of dividend within 30 days. After the declarations of dividend, it should be paid to shareholder within 30 days. Now I am going to talk about dividend and the auditor. In this, auditor should see that to see the memorandum of association, article of association of the company, auditor should see this. Next, what should auditor see? That right of the reserves losses out of reserve income. This point is being very important, that whether auditor will see that whether the return of the losses of reserves should be done by the reserves income only or not. Next is by confirming payment procedures or method of dividend, auditor should check that in reality how it is done. If non-maintained in articles of association, then go to the view in table A. यहाँ पे बात कर रहा है कि अगर ऑडिटर ये चेक करेगा कि अगर रियलिटी में क्या कोई पेमेंट या हुआ है कि नहीं, और यदि पेमेंट हुआ है तो उस जो प्रोसीजर जो डिफाइंड है तुम्हारे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में, आर्टिकल्स ऑफ एसोसिएशन में, उसी के हिसाब से हुआ है कि नहीं. अगर आर्टिकल ऑफ एसोसिएशन में कोई भी मेथड मेंशन नहीं है तो वो टेबल ए में देखेगा. टेबल ए में तो ये मेथड दिया ही होगा. नेक्स्ट इज राइट ऑफ कैपिटल लॉस फॉर कैपिटल गेन. Like loss of sale of furniture should be write off from the capital if gained by the furniture. Loss of sale of furniture should be written off by the capital gained by the furniture. Next is payment of dividend out of real profit. Payment which is to be done of dividend are actually done from the real profit, or we can say from actual profit, or not should be seen by the auditor. Next is payment of dividend by check. All the payments done by the bank, so all the dividend warrants are given by the check and are entered in the passbook or not seen by the auditor. Next is to see the accounts of unclaimed dividend. In the balance sheet liability side, it is written to have to do payment amount to be given to the shareholders in the form of dividend, so auditor will check amount if it is more or low. Next is to check the rate of dividend by board of director meetings in the proceedings. Auditor checks the meetings and the proceedings of the meeting. Auditor checks the minutes. Auditor checks the minutes and the proceedings of the meeting, that whether dividend is given is been finalized by the board of director or not, and the rates are given are only to be defined in the board of directors meeting or not, whether it is more or less. Next is deductions of income tax. Tax at source are deducted by the company and the amount of tax are deposited in the government account, or we can say in the tax department. So it is done or not is seen by the auditor, and also auditor checks that the deposits are made by the individual's person name or not. Next is comparisons of dividend with shareholders books. The dividend which is provided to the shareholders are entered correctly in the shareholders book by the particular name, by the individual names or not, and he matches that the books with the company books of accounts. Next is at last to obey Companies Act relating to the payment of dividend. Payment of dividend are done according to the procedures recorded in the books of company and act, like the payment mode, what is the payment mode, what will be the durations, what will be the amount, and etc. are also checked by the auditor. So this is the full video of this dividend and the auditor. In the third part of this video, I will discuss about two most important question arises from this chapter. So do watch that video and do subscribe my channel to need. You can just comment any topic of regarding any subjects of BCom. I will love to make video on that. So thank you for now. Do subscribe my channel and watch this video, is very important as far as the accounting procedure is been concerned.